Hello everyone, my name is Nitin Nahar. I welcome you all on behalf of JK Shah classes to this paper analysis video for paper 8 indirect taxes. Now, before we start with question wise analysis, let's understand how was the paper pattern on an overall basis. If you see, other than the first compulsory question, obviously the first question is a compulsory question. Other than that, we had totally 5 questions. Out of that 5 questions, that is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a student was required to answer 4 questions. So I can write 4 out of 5 from question number 2 to question number 6. Now, every question had a part related to customs. 2C, 5 marks, 3C, 5 marks, 4C, 5, 5C, and finally 6C. That means out of these 5 questions, 4 questions are to be answered. Totally 20 marks of customs is to be answered from the descriptive portion. See, out of 100 marks, you have 30 marks related to MCQ. And balance 70 marks is descriptive type questions. Now out of this, 20 marks was related to customs and balance 50 was related to GST. This is the overall analysis. Never ever ignore customs. Fairly and high scoring topic. Now coming to the question wise analysis. Question 1 is always a computation based question where all the 3 areas are covered. Output tax, input tax, third area is reverse charge mechanism. So all the 3 areas and its implications are tested in the first question. When we talk about some important aspects, on the output side, treatment of discount was the focus. What happens in case of sale of vehicle, transportation charges, or food supplied to employees? What is the treatment of all this? That was the focus on the output side. On the ITC side and reverse charge mechanism, whether rent paid to a local authority would be covered by RCM. Then what is the differentiation between salary and sitting fees? Whether reverse charge mechanism would apply on both the aspects or only on a single aspect. That was the focus area of first 14 mark question. The second question dealt with composition levy. Now composition levy, basically it focused on tax payable as a manufacturer and tax payable as a trader. See, a manufacturer ends up paying 1% on the turnover in a state/union territory, but a trader ends up paying 1% on the taxable turnover in the state or union territory. So trader has an advantage. This was the aspect which was tested in the first part of question number 2. The next question was a computation based question focusing on input tax credit. Input tax credit on rent, packing material, security, maintenance, and all these aspects were dealt with in input tax credit related question. Then a direct question on custom valuation. Student was required to give a clear picture on assessable value to be dealt with custom valuation. Then moving on to question number 3. The first aspect was related to time of supply, and they had given 2 separate cases. One was a case of supply of goods, one was a case of supply of service. So obviously the focus was on date of payment, whether date of payment is considered for goods industry as time of supply vis-a-vis service industry for the purpose of determining time of supply. That was the basic area. Then coming to the aspect of place of supply, import of service was the theme of the question. A loan from a foreign bank, charges thereon, whether GST would be applicable, whether it would be regarded as an import of service. 3C, again a customs question, damaged goods. Its valuation and what is the option available to the person who has received a product but it is damaged. In such cases, what would he go forward with? What is the treatment and how can he deal with such a case? Moving on to question number 4. 4A dealt with registration. So here the basic focus was aggregate turnover for the purpose of GST registration. Aggregate turnover was required to be computed, and we understand that aggregate turnover would include taxable supplies, exempt, interstate and export of goods or services, but also it excludes GST and inward supply under RCM. That was the focus area of this question. Then refund/e-way bill. Obviously there was an internal option in this. There was a refund question. What happens in case of non-realization of export proceeds, and what is the requirement related to e-way bill? These were the two aspects dealt with. Now, non-realization of export proceeds, a new provision has been added, Rule 96B. The focus was on that. And e-way bill in certain cases, whether it would be required or not. Where is it mandatory? That was the aspect dealt with e-way bill. 4C, again a customs related question which required custom duty computation, basically based on safeguard duty. How would the custom duty calculations work? That was the basic focus on this. Then if you see question number 5 and 6, this was from miscellaneous topics which are normally not or ignored by student, but adjudication, assessment, liability in certain cases. These are some aspects where getting marks is easy. So focus should be on these areas and should not be missed by any means. Adjudication, 5A, 5B, both were related to adjudication. 5A dealt with penalty in case of payment of dues within prescribed timelines. It was a section 74 based question. So section 74, if you pay within 30 days, if you pay before SCN, 15%, 25%, if you pay within 30 days of communication of demand order, 50%, and none of those, 100% penalty. So that was the focus area in 5A. And then 5B dealt with if section 74 is held to be invalid, that is extended period of limitation held to be invalid, then whether the notice would be deemed to be issued under section 73, that was the aspect. And then interest not mentioned in show cause notice, whether still interest would be mandatory to be paid. This was the focus area in 5B. 5C, again a customs related question, interest computation. Normally, you will find one question of interest computation, be it from GST or be it from customs. So this was an interest computation on duty drawback related aspect. And the last question was basically theory question, and that's how the pattern has been. Section 90, that is partners of a firm. What would be the treatment and liability in those cases? That was dealt with 6A direct question. How is the treatment with respect to partners in respect of liability in certain cases? Assessment related, again a direct question, bench judgment, section 63 for an unregistered person who was liable to register, or a person whose registration is cancelled suo motu by officer. What would be the timelines? All this is what you were required to mention. And lastly, again a duty drawback related question which focused on section 75, where imported goods and then you manufacture a product and then export the manufactured product. What would be the treatment in such case? That was 6C. So the basic criteria were always direct questions in the last part and various aspects from the top, that is supply, till the end, adjudication, liability, common topics plus fair coverage of customs. That's how the entire question paper was. All the aspects were covered in the JKSC textbook and notes. A person or a student could have easily answered all the questions once he has gone through the entire module. I hope this video was useful for you. Thank you.